Thank you for having me. I've been on a couple of these calls and find them informative and interesting and controversial. And I disagree with some and agree with a lot. And I think at the end of this, we're going to have about the same results. So, my day job is to work for Harris County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. I am the logistics section chief. And my name is there on the screen, and my call is Whiskey 5 Bravo Alpha Kilo, one of many calls that I have because of trustees and other things, but that's my primary call. And I think I was licensed in 93 for all you keeping statistics. And I'll tell you a little bit about Harris County because it'll set the tone for what we're going to talk about. And your mileage will definitely vary. We have 1,800, this is the county now, so I work at the county, 1,800 square miles, give or take 4.8 million people. We'd be a 24 state if we were just a state. We have the largest U.S. port for international exports, third largest county in the U.S., and 35 cities in Harris County within. And then the unincorporated area, if you took out all the incorporated areas, we still have 2.7 million people in the unincorporated area. So there's a lot of people here. We have 56 fire departments. That's not fire stations, that's different fire department entities with 125 law enforcement agencies, 22 watersheds, MUDs and PUDs. Those are utility districts. There's over 9,000 miles of gas pipeline under the ground in Harris County. We've had more than 47 federally declared disasters. Most of them, are FEMA related. So the point there is this is a big place and a busy place. And we get lots of options to activate our emergency operations center. Hurricanes, of course, is our one we're known for. I'm glad this is a month later. I could say we haven't had one this month. We do get rain events, though. We've had everything on there. It's amazing what happens in Harris County. And just a note that every day, statistically, there's a chemical spill in Harris County. Now, it may just be something at one of the refineries or something, small, but we do get one every day. So this is where I work. This is the building I'm in. You'll notice there's some antennas on the roof. I don't have a really good one at the top, but this building was built, I think it was in 96, and it's four departments that combined for transportation management. So we watch traffic there along with some of our other partners in our Metro Traffic Division. But the entire third floor and one end of the building is Harris County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management with a staff of 48. We have 110 seat EOC. And so you can imagine that as I've traveled around the country teaching classes and things, that's larger than some state EOC. So the scale, again, is something that I have to adjust to. That's me. Yeah, the good looking guy there. On call 24/7, we have that, fire, hazmat, special events, and health emergencies. So even right now, we're planning hopefully that the Astros do well and we have the playoffs or we have the World Series. We've had Super Bowls. We've had everything you can imagine. So we activate quite a bit for those events, and people don't really know that because we're hiding in that building. So what do I do? If you're familiar with ICS or NIMS, I'm the logistics section chief. So we handle emergency contracts, resources, GIS, maintain the EOC, and of course, amateur radio communications. I will tell you there are 4 people in my department, full-time employees in logistics. That's very rare that we have a full-time logistics department in the EOC. We do follow the NIMS and ICS, and all 4 of us are licensed amateur radio operators. That again is rare that we have that. So we do a lot of regional radio training. We participate with FEMA and DHS. Lots of exercises with that. Next generation first responder was done here. And that picture, the gentleman in the middle holding that certificate is Franz Lagerman, K3FL. Franz was the first volunteer examiner to pass 1,000 VE sessions. So that is the county, county judge is not in that photo, but he gave him a proclamation. So we had Franz Day, and that's in our EOC, and those are all some hams and some other trainees that we had in the class. If you look at the VE count now, you'll see people have 7,000 and 8,000 VE sessions. And if you do the math, They've had a VE session every day of the year, 365 days of the year, 364, depending on the year, whatever, for the last 10 years, which I think is mathematically impossible. So I have a little bit of a rub from that, but we're not going to harp on that. Franz was the first one over 1,000. So if you figure 4 or 6 people per VE session, Franz has helped 4 to 5,000 people get a ham license or upgrade their license. And we're really proud of him. It was a big deal for us. We had it written up in the paper. The county judge, who would be our county administrator, came down and spoke to Franz, and we were just really proud that we were that much of a participant. Some of our guys there on the front, where we have our own VE team, we do testing regularly, we do testing sporadically, we do testing at events. Anytime we give a class that involves communications, like an Oxcom class or a ComT or ComL class, we'll announce it and we'll do a VE session during one of the lunches or something, just so people have an option to do that. So testing is a big deal for us. Training and exercise. Now, again, I'm speaking of the county. We'll get to the cadre of ham shortly, but we did 551 training drills or exercises last year. We did the EarthX 2018, which was a big exercise. We do a lot of full-scale exercises, and we host those for other departments. So we have about 15 or 20 departments that we work with in the county that we bring to the table and have exercise, test, rehearsal of concepts, seeing how things are working. Sometimes it's just forms passing. Sometimes it's full scale. And then we have a lot of private sector partnerships with the refineries, the medical, Harris County and Houston having the largest medical center in the country. We do a lot with the hospitals and emergency management of those groups. Now, here's where the Oxcom falls in. And I'm referring to Oxcom because I'm an Oxcom instructor. So I'm not going to just call it ham radio. I'm going to call it Oxcom, which is a tag started by John Peterson for anyone that's in the volunteer method. It can be FRS people, GMRS people, CB, doesn't matter. But primarily Oxcom is amateur radio operators, which you must have a license currently to take the course. So that is part of it. This is from Jeff Walter to show you how our District 14, which is Harris County along with South Texas section, operates. I get this report every month from Jeff, and this is a sample report that tells us that he has 1,651 members. They did 24 exercises in a month, and it talks about person hours. These are statistics that you need to have your group pay attention to, keep up, and we'll talk about why that's important shortly. But record keeping is one of those things. If it's not on paper, it didn't happen. That's kind of true in this case, but you want to be able to do these numbers and show that you are out there helping, because the goal of this call is to tell you or help you figure out how to get in to be more active in public safety and public service as a ham radio operator or Oxcom. So this is Jeff's webpage, or actually the county area's webpage. We use this a lot in class. We use this a lot in the ComL, ComT, and classes to show how to get a 205, how to get a 217, and the layout. So I recommend, if you have a moment, you can, after the presentation, grab a copy of this page and look at some of the options. Very professional, very to the point. It also tells you about the communications in the area, how we've divided the county up, public service events. This is a go-to spot for people to find out information. One of the things that we find in the classes that we teach is that lack of events, lack of exercises, and lack of trainings and the awareness of them is usually just because people didn't know it was happening. You tell a couple of people, but you can imagine in Harris County, a couple of people knowing something doesn't reach the masses. And this is a good website for that. Here's the Oxcom reality. And I'm controversial. I'm bringing reality to the party. And so if you're offended, tough. But the average ARRL member is 68 years old. The average non-member is 52 years old. We're an older and acquiring older group of people. And so we need some youth and vitality, and we need to get people interested in this. I'll show you a way here in a minute, but these are statistics that we can't ignore. We can't let amateur radio die out. If you look at the total number of ham radio operators by state, you'll see California, Texas, and Florida. That's a lot of people, 58,000 in Texas, 115 in California. Now, no one really knows the true stats because, if you die within the 10-year period, your license isn't taken away, or if you just become inactive or you don't renew it. We don't know about that for quite a while. So we'll just have to count with those counts. But you can see there's a boatload of people, but it's an older group of people. If you've been to a ham fest lately and you look around and you see any teenagers there, that's kind of shocking. Dayton at the Hamvention or even Hamcation, not a lot of youth there. And here's why. Some of this is moving in. Everybody of youth wants to do DMR. They want to get on the internet. They want to link radios. And us old crusty guys don't think DMR is ham radio because it touches the internet. That's not how we should be approaching that. There is a slice of pie in amateur radio for anyone that wants to do anything. You want to talk about Motorola, you want to talk to the space station, you want to do POTA, parks on the air, whatever it is you want to do, there's a slice of pie. So instead of beating them up and complaining about them, just let them be. And this is a great article. And if you Google that, millennials are killing ham radio, you can read about it. But it's a lot of people talking down to younger people because all they do is get a technician's license, get a DMR radio, and start setting up hotspots, and away they go. Yeah, I'm a contest kind of guy. I'm a DX kind of guy. I'm a set it up in the field day kind of guy. Whatever you want to do, I like to go play. So we need to embrace those people. And here's the illusion we have. This is what we think amateur radio and public safety is. This is what we think we bring to the table. This is a station that's about 15 or 20 miles, maybe a little further from my EOC, George DeMontron. He's got $1 million worth of stuff. These are all contest guys. It's one of the coolest stations I've ever been, but that's not really helping emergency management. It sells gear. It fine-tunes some operators, but it's really not what an emergency manager or public safety is looking for to back them up. Google ham radio disaster, and what do we get? A bunch of old guys with yellow jackets. Okay. And that's the way we've been for the last couple of years, couple of centuries, however. It used to be your grandfather's hobby. And we have to change that and embrace some of these other ones. This slide kills me. If you wait till when all else fails in amateur radio, you're not going to get called. You're not going to be effective. It's not the disaster communications that we're looking for. It's not when it's done. And I'm a true believer in redundancy and having multiple levels. But the mindset of a lot of public safety people and emergency managers is, we got this. We don't need you. We got satellite. We got FirstNet. We have Starlink. We have all this stuff, and it's never going to go down. It's hardened. We paid millions and millions of dollars for it. So when we talk about when all else fails, we will be there. Yeah, probably, but we need to get involved now. We need to get involved, and I really preach this to all of our clubs when we go out and speak. Get involved. Skywarn, fabulous program. Great program, free training, weather service. Be happy to come help your club out, your group out. If you can't get it, they have some online options. So this is something that is really important in Harris County. We consider amateur radio a force multiplier during weather spotting, putting that information in as a force multiplier. If I can get reports from amateur radio operators about trees that are down, roads that are flooded, power that's out, I don't have to send a cop, a fireman, or public works out there. I can tell what's happening. So we have a couple of guys that we have gone through Oxcom. They're familiar with the forums. They use Web EOC, and they sit in our EOC, and they take field reports from all the amateur radio operators, whether they're in a club, whether they're areas, whether they're left-handed, right-handed. We don't care. If they're giving us street information about sky-worn topics or weather, look at the advantage I have. It's amazing. And here's, if you're not familiar with APRS, these are the blue dots are all weather stations. How many NOAA weather stations are in your area? Five, maybe, maybe 10. Look at how many blue dots that I can drill down. We use these weather stations all the time when we have a hazmat spill. If I need to know weather direction, humidity, or temperature in an area that's on that map, especially in the bottom right-hand corner down around the seaport, I can drill down on that information and get instant weather, accurate street level weather information. Talk about plume modeling or anything like that. I have a vast amount of information I can get. Emergency managers don't know this is available. They are clueless that there are citizens, what is it, COW, I believe, the weather spotters. The amazing product, all free. And then we talk about when you get called. This is half of our ham room in our EOC. Yeah, that's me in the picture. This was staged. But this is an area where when we get called, show up and do the work. Then how do you get called? That's coming up. Kids, we have to go into the high schools, the colleges. If you're not familiar with some of the college, even the ARRL gives out scholarships. I think they gave out $500,000 total last year in scholarships to kids. What a great opportunity. This is one of the space contacts with the space station. Big fan of that, getting into the science groups, getting into the high schools, talking about radios and communications, setting up a club, donating your time to that and some gear. Approach the schools. See if you can get in with them. If they have a Girl Scout or Boy Scout group, the merit badges, always good to have. CERT is something I highly recommend. We're a big advocate of CERT here in Harris County. We use CERT people for everything. Air shows, boat races, bike races, disaster searches in neighborhoods for weather spotters, you name it. It's all, I can't even tell you how many different options we have. We have a huge competition every year. We call the CERT Rodeo. We're in the high schools with Teen CERT. So if you have a CERT team in your area, join it, organize it, get a ham class. The basic CERT class is 8 weeks of 3 hours a week, or whatever you want to do, however they do it in a couple of days. But amateur radio is not part of the core training. Start a group, get some ham gear into those people, get them off of FRS and teach them to use ham radio and organize those CERT groups and have continual training. So here's some options for what we talk about, how to get involved. One, if you're not familiar with the Oxfog, it is in reproduction, but you can download it online. And it also has an app. You know, of course, everything has an app. Shares, and Steve will cackle a little bit. Shares is one of those hidden gems that works off of the WinLink backbone for data movement. If you're not familiar with Steve and the WinLink, that's probably one of the top 3 coolest things in amateur radio in the last 20 years. Moving email, moving forms, moving data, moving pictures through WinLink is an amazing tool that we have. And emergency management isn't aware of Shares or WinLink, even on the ham level. It's just a hidden gem. So you can take all types of training. It's included in the Oxcom exercise that we're going to do. So part of that is WinLink's, as they say, global email, because it's an autonomous system that can stand alone. If you're not part of that, learn that. You don't need a lot of gear. You can do it even on Telnet through just a laptop. But Steve will probably have something to say about that in a minute. But the ARRL is our founding group here and our backbone for advocate for government and frequencies and organizations. Not everyone agrees with everything ARRL does, but they speak up and they help us maintain our frequencies, which are extremely valuable. CISA and Homeland Security, of course, has the Oxcom course. If you're not familiar with that, that's one of the courses that is offered in the ComU communications unit, along with ComL, communications unit leader, and the ComT, the communications technician. Look into those, see where they're having those in your area. Highly recommend an Oxcom course. If you know what a statewide interop coordinator is, that's the person in your state, and there's one in every 50 states, that will tell you when those courses are being held, approve those courses, or request those courses, so you can get information from your SWIC. And then over on the right, of course, the air is, I love to play with satellites. I love to talking to the space stations. One of my coolest things with amateur radio was talking to the space station, Commander Wheelock, and then going down to NASA and having him signing my card at a meet and greet. I thought that was super duper cool. Uh, that's it in a nutshell for the slides. Let me tell you what you can do, or what I think you can do to help you get into that. What I think you can do is get some training, organize, find your group if you're interested in that. But remember that emergency communications, public safety communications is not for everyone. And you cannot just shun people that don't want anything to do with that. We have people that will tell us all the time, yeah, you can use our repeater for emergency areas, whatever, but I'm not interested in joining your group. And that's cool. That's fine. That's their forte. That's what they want to do. So the other part of that is stop with the competition between things like clubs and Aries and Oxcom. It's the whole as we have. We have organizations that approach us all the time, and it'll be a group of 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people that'll come to us and say, hey, we do emergency communications. We're a ham group. We're in South Houston. We want to come in there and help you. Okay, are you part of Aries, or have you had an Oxcom course, or are you working with the group that we recognize? No, but we can come in and do it better. We have this advantage. And that just confuses the emergency manager, especially if they don't have any exposure to amateur radio. I'm going to tell you a horror story, and I'm going to tell you some good stories. There was one of our cities had amateur radio operators in it. And during an event, one of the guys, one of the hams, went up to the emergency management coordinator and told him that his system was really not functioning well. And if he would let him come down on a Saturday, he would hook it up right and reprogram all his radios so they worked right. And what do you think happened? He got kicked to the curb. Amateur radio got banned from the EOC. And I spent 4 years trying to get people back in there. Well, sure enough, we had a hurricane. They lost some communications, and I sent some ham radio guys down there who understood the story, and they were perfect. They went in, they did a great job. They did their duty. They handled things for people. They routed emails, and we got them back in there. But it took a while to get that back in. So how do you get in? Look up on your website, find your county emergency manager, your city emergency manager, then write them a nice letter. Schedule a meeting. Tell them you represent this group. Make sure that there's no duplicate or you're not competing with another group. If they are, get together and talk about it. Try to take it from the Oxcom perspective, and you can say, look, I'm trained in NIMS and ICS, and I understand your flow, and do that. Start small, a parade, a bike race, some public event, something where you're out, you're professional, you're helping with that, and you're working. Find out who your SWIC is. Let them be known about your group or your capabilities so that the SWIC can say, hey, I got some people down there. And they can help you with that. But start small. Don't go in and try to rewire the EOC. It's just not going to work. The best success stories I have are when you start out with the parades and those things, and then they go, hey, can you help us do this? Or can you handle that? And your answer is yes, let me help you. But if you get the call to go and make sure you have enough staff and people. Be very honest with who you're supporting. One of the big things that we as emergency management are afraid of is you are a volunteer organization. So I can't force you or require you or make you stay and help me. I know you have family you have to worry about. You have homes you need to worry about. If there's flooding, you're going to need to go home and take care of that. So if you're volunteering, try to have schedules. Say, look, we can work these schedules. We can work these shifts. We can help you out with this product. We can give you some communications, and don't go crazy with, I've got 42 radios and a hat with an antenna on it, 32 name badges. So take the Oxcom course, get your act together, get your organization and management for areas or races, whomever it is, to make those connections and contacts. Guys, that's really all I've got about it because I was hoping we'd have a lot more questions. I understand the scale of availability here in Harris County. We are resource rich. We have big events. I love having a lot of volunteers. I've been to Minot, North Dakota. I've been to Eagle Pass, and I've been to places where they had 5 or 6 radio operators, Guam, St. Croix, wherever. And they don't have the luxury that we do here. So I understand that. But the process is the same. Contacting the local group, finding out who your SWIC is, trying to take advantage of working any area, set up a booth at the preparedness event or the county fair or something when they have public safety days or something. Try to set up a booth and look professional, can have information, and work with the community. Remember, it's going to be a slow process if you're starting from nothing, which is what most of us are. Dan, I've been up in Idaho many times. I wish I was there with your weather. I'm going to hand it back to you, and I'm here to get beat up on and answer questions that I can help.
Okay, great presentation, especially on the fly. Looking over here, we got a couple of hands up. I asked everybody when you come on, if you got a camera, please turn it on so we have video. And also don't jump in, you raise your hand or put your question in the chat. Scott, you got your hand up, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Hey, Joey, great presentation. And again, great to see you again. And you really hit the nail square on the head because I had to do just what you talked about. Is I had to reach out to my OES coordinating EOC and request a meeting with them. And from what I'm understanding, years ago, there was some really bad blood or bad flavor left in their mouth about some amateur radio operators. And having to overcome that and their willingness to sit down and talk to me again or talk to us as a group to get back into their EOC. And that takes a lot of work. And once you leave a bad first impression, you really can't recover from that without a lot of hard work.
It is, and it's very difficult. And don't give up on it. Keep trying. Take a bite at the apple, another bite. I want to pause for a moment. I see the oldest living amateur radio operator in the world. Hey, Louie, what's going on? He's probably not more than 5 or 10 miles from me. But Scott, you're absolutely right. And Scott had the unfortunate luck of spending last week with me in Las Vegas in the ITSL class. Training is what we need to get so we understand how the process works. I really had no way to mirror ham or morph ham radio into emergency management until I became an emergency management person. I was a ham way before. And I kept thinking to myself, why aren't we using hams? Why aren't we using hams? And when I asked, I'll tell you this real quick story. When I got my first license, I came to the building I work in now to a meeting. They had a club meeting. I've read about it online or somewhere. I don't remember. My friend and I had just gotten our ham license. We come down here. They shunned us. We were new guys. No one talked to us for about 15 minutes. Finally, they said, oh, you guys hams? Like, yeah, we're at a ham meeting. Of course we're hams. We're not here for the donuts. And they handed us a brochure. And Louis, you'll know some of those people. I won't mention their names. But the funny part of this is it's my building now. It's my room now. It's my organization now. And they shunned me. So I own it now. And we have about 200 amateur radio operators that have. Louis can go in that building anytime he wants to and operate. We have a trust factor with those guys that I brought to the table so that we could embrace and use and give back. We will loan you equipment. We'll hand you radios. I put Louis on 800 megahertz all the time. You want to borrow some other stuff? Let me help you. We have a budget for a radio room, an active ham radio room. But we were lucky because we've had great results because we had great leadership from the groups that helped us.
Okay. Gene, you got your video on, your hand up, you're ready to go. Take it away.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. This is Gene and 3XUS from Killeen, Texas. We all know about the great eclipse next year and various areas in Texas are handling it in different ways. I don't know if Harris County is going to be part of that magic zone or not, but people are going to be going through there anyway to get to the magic zone. How are y'all coordinate that at the county level, and do you find problems at the city level, city and town level, working with y'all to handle this challenge?
Well, Gene, Harris County is not really that concerned. We're way out of the line, so it's going to be to the north and to the west of us. But I am on some calls. A couple of things. One is the scientific aspect. There's a couple of programs that are asking amateur radio to talk about propagation, conditions, noise, and all that. And I don't have any information on that. I've just read it a time or two. But I know some of these smaller jurisdictions are very concerned that an influx of people and anything happening, let's say a car wreck in a very rural area or a bus accident, let's say a bus accident, where they have a mass casualty event and they have communications are inundated, they're starting to pick up on that. And I can tell you that amateur radio is represented in those calls. Right now, the calls are kind of generic, and we're working on that. They haven't drilled down in it, but that's a topic that would be a great introduction. If you're in that zone of zero totality, to go to your emergency manager and say, hey, look, we're going to be standing by if something happens to your comms or you get overloaded. Here's my card, and maybe we could work on some training with you guys. That'd be a great way to go. But as far as locally here in Harris County and Houston, it's just another day for us.
Okay, yeah. Here in Killeen, we're supposed to be in the total path of totality. Is that a word, totality? But
Yes,
anyway, and from an MCOM perspective, or even emergency management perspective, we are going to be taxed like I don't think anybody's ready for. I mean, logistically, medical wise, I mean, we're going to find vehicles from all parts of the country stopping on every single highway, every single interstate, going to every single parking lot from, let's say, Walmart, community centers, empty fields. And it's going to be a challenge, to say the least. So, I mean, that was just something I wanted to ask you about down there. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to hit your area that much, but you still might have people going through your area, heading up north, and that's going to create some congestion.
I think it's just going to be another day for us because there was 50,000 people in the left lane in front of me on the way to work this morning. So I don't think it's going to be a big a deal.
All right. Thank you for the answers.
Yes, sir.
I might comment here that, whoops, okay, I'm on. I might comment that here not too long ago, a couple years back, we had a clips up here that was right across Idaho. Of course, we had all the traffic, people coming from all over the world here. And what they did with the amateur radio, what the ELC did with the amateur radio operators, is they made us their eyes and ears. A lot of our counties only have a handful of that. Emergency people, they needed more, they needed personnel. So we became their eyes and ears, and we performed. We showed them what we can do. And I'm hoping that this will be an opportunity for the hams, or where this is going to go in there to perform, be professional, and show what they can do. Okay, we got more hands up here. Steve, will you turn your video on so we can see you when you talk?
Oh, I haven't washed my face or combed my hair. Okay, well, I wanted to make three. Joey hit the nail on the head on several issues that are, in my opinion, really relevant. One is he's a public servant. He works for an authority having jurisdiction. Therefore, he can't throw one group away in favor of another. In other words, in any larger community, you have competitive groups that are really interested in MCOM, and they have their own ideas. And my suggestion for that, in just being a careful observer, especially in the larger areas, and I'm sure Joey's very well aware of this, and that is to manage these people directly under his own organization, call it reserves or whatever you want to call it, and they can belong to the Lions Club or the Kiwanis Club or any other club, YMCA club or ARL club or ACS club. It doesn't matter what else they do, as long as these people are managed directly by the authority having jurisdiction. Then they can become very valuable. That's I see that over and over again. The other thing, we've got contesters with huge resources, assets, big signals, monster stations, and yet those people are the last to be deployed, with the exception of your buddy in Austin, Texas. Those are the last to be deployed, or the last to want to be deployed. They look at MCOM as an interference to their function, and it's a shame that happens. There ought to be some way to organize that group and get them involved in doing what they do so well, and that is picking up and delivering information. I'm not one to get involved in that, but that'd be a great project for a large organization to get involved with. The other thing is, there is a very organized and extensive process with Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, and some other states for this 2024 eclipse. It is not being it hasn't gone unnoticed. They are working with the statewide interoperability coordinators, the ESF2s, the logistics people, everybody, the law enforcement, mainly for traffic control. And it is being done in a formal, through a formal process. So it isn't something that is being left untouched. And also, it is amateur radio, and let's just say volunteer resources are a great part of that process, because if they're managed properly, they can produce great situational awareness and ground truth, similar to what you might see in Skywarn for weather. And they can do that with just about any subject if they do it digitally, and it can be measured very precisely, and feedback can come back to those people where they can get the type of ground truth they really need. That's all being reviewed and looked at. And as Joey said, it's on the rise, but it's not there yet. So I wanted to just say one last thing, and that is this: the guy that's on there tonight is the real deal, in my opinion. The first time I met Joey, he took a modem to Guam for us. Didn't even know who he was, and he offered to take the modem. Since then, because of his work with MCOM, he's become very well known, and we're really fortunate to have him here tonight. Thank you, Joey.
Well, thank you, Steve. And, I can go anywhere else, Hawaii or the islands or anything on vacation. If you need me to take some more gear around, I'm available for vacation. But the WinLink team, as I said, one of the top three things in the last 15 or 20 years, if people understood its capabilities. And even though I use it every day or quite often, I'm still learning new tools. And as you're aware, I'm asking you questions all the time. I think that's something we can embrace. I did want to pause for a moment and recognize Jeff Walter, KE5 FGA, who paid me $15 to mention him earlier about how well his Aries group works. Jeff is our rock. He has, if you could all get a guy like him to help you in public safety, the world would be a better place. And Jeff, thank you. Hopefully everyone hears me saying that. Amazing work. Jeff has been there. He goes to countless and countless events, organizations. He's put up with the politics. He's put up with me. He's done an amazing job in that. And those are the kind of guys you look for. Please look his call up, KE5FGA. I'm sure he wouldn't mind some questions or emails. I also, real quick, have posted my personal contact information in there. There's my call sign, my cell phone number. Please feel free to use it if you need anything. Okay, back to you, Dan.
All right, thank you. And I see you've got a couple more hands up here. I might comment in regards to Idaho, probably Montana, and some many states that don't have the emergency activity that you have in parts of Texas, parts of California, East Coast. And some of our guys here study their butts off. They're part of OCCON, they got all through the courses, and now they're saying, now what? These guys need to be part of the activation and somehow part of the formula where they can do something to justify. Because if they don't, they get bored and they go off. You train and train and train in a state that doesn't have anything but a flood now and then. It's a little discouraging. So it's a two-way street keeping things going here. Okay, Victor.
Dan, let me say something about that. That's one of the biggest issues. I teach Oxcom courses quite a bit around the country, and the comment was made: you're trying to sell something no one wants to buy, right? So that's one of those heartfelt things. If you come to volunteer with me and I think you're a capable guy and you prove it, I don't care what certificates you have or what training you have. I know guys that I'll call that. I had an IT guy come over and he stayed on the forklift all week. At the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to promote the good of mankind and you want to help out. That's what our goal is to help. And if they won't take the help, so be it. What can we do to help? You offer, you do the best you can, organize, have fun, help where you can, look for those opportunities. The best thing you can do is social engineer these people. Get together with your people, get together as a group, exchange ideas, be helpful, offer it to them. Look, guys, we can help you with this. We'd love to help you. We're free. You can use us as matching funds for dollars for grants. If they don't take it, you still feel good about your efforts. I understand. I've fought that same battle many, many times with a lot of that. We're not going to win all the battles, but I will tell you, there's someone somewhere that appreciates your help. And if no one else, it's me. And I do appreciate the effort.
I might comment here. I'm a section manager for Idaho, and I've been struggling with our Aries thing. I was the SEC back in the 80s, and the arguments and the problems are the same. What I've recently done, and I'm hoping we're going in the right direction, my new SEC for Idaho is a county emergency manager, just like yourself, and your enthusiasm reminds me of him. Through him, I'm hoping to go at it both ways. He gives seminars and lectures, and he talks about Wing Link Next. He's got stuff going on Wing Link throughout the state. Involvement so that they are known, like you were saying, get involved, be it a parade, be it whatever it is. And if you don't have those, and some communities just don't because they're too small, there's other things they can do. So involvement's the big thing, and it comes both directions. Okay, Gene, go ahead. Yay, Gene. Hello, Gene, you're muted.
Are you talking to me?
I'm sorry, Victor. I have Gene in my mind. Sorry, you got your hand. Anyway, Victor, go ahead. Sorry about that, folks.
Thank you. I wondered just what was going on if I'd lowered my hand inadvertently, and you missed me. First of all, to this last point about the Pacific Northwest, I want to get involved. I wouldn't mind going to a forest fire and directing traffic, standing out there on the perimeter, helping out somewhere where I'm not in harm's way. Certain issues that keep me from doing that, getting in and actually helping fight the fires. The problem with that is I'm one more mouth on the line to feed. Do they need that or not? That's kind of one of the big questions that pops up. Is that what can we do on the perimeter to help without having to go inside? Anyway, Joey's great presentation. That's kind of the stuff that got me excited when I joined. I got my ticket in 2017. First, I'm a Lion. So volunteerism is key for me. Steve Waterman made a great point about, including all the service clubs. We haven't reached that level here in Washington, but it's certainly something that should be considered. I'll get back into that for a second. I grew up with an interest in ham radio, although not in my budget, to get a working radio, and I lacked a mentor in CB. The radio didn't work, and I didn't follow up. My own fault, but no support really, so why stick with it? I embraced the internet, and then after completing my CERT course, a mentor invited me. He invited me to get my ticket so that I could work in MCOM or amateur radio and emergency, or whatever you want, ACS. I was ready. It's finding young people who have an interest and supporting that interest. It's not grandpa. It's you, young man, young lady. It's not about the old people, it's you. It's the youth that bring it to us. But we have to, when we're selling this, we have to talk to people and say, well, what's missing in your life? Are you missing radio? Would you like to be involved in radio? How come I never got there? Is because I never got talking with people about ham radio. And that's where the loss was. To get back to the point earlier, about including everybody. FEMA is now talking about a whole community. And I think you touched on that point without actually saying it, about bringing amateur radio back into groups that have been excluded for bad blood. But between the service clubs, amateur radio, it's the whole community. It's CERT, it's everybody that's out there. It's the guy that shows up with a chainsaw, chaps, and helmet, and is 14 years old. But his dad taught him how to be a logger, and he can go out and help rescue people. We had that fortunate event several years ago. My second point, my final point, this is October, folks. This is Great Shakeout Month. Have a great week. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry about giving you a different name. Poor Gene. Okay, I see Jim's got his hand up. Gene is a very involved person in his area. He's got a lot to offer. Let's hear what he's got to say. Go ahead, Gene. I'm still Gene. Sorry.
Is that me, Dan?
That's you, Jim.
Okay. I just wanted to talk about a positive. Oh, I'm sorry. Gene is going. His hands are out. Which one?
Before.
Okay.
Jim Price, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me talk about something positive that's happening in California. We have 74 agencies in the state that have received grants of up to $60,000 to purchase HF ALE radios that are also WinLink compatible, with WinLink capability. And those radios are starting to be installed. And within the last couple of weeks, we have the city and county of San Francisco, LA County Sheriff, Los Angeles City, and we're pretty close on Solano County and Humboldt County. Guess what? The reason those agencies are up and running with this HF radios is because of the help that the amateur radio group that they are associated with, either ACS or amateur or ARES, has helped them. So they have working relationships with the hams, and they are using the technical expertise that we can bring to get these radios up and running. So I've encouraged our people to please, reestablish, if they have lost it, their relationship with their counties, because the counties are going to need their help. That's all I had, Dan.
Okay. And Jim, again, I apologize. And Gene, I apologize to you too. Thank you, folks, that helped me out on that. I don't see any more hands up. Barry, you there? Or what we got going in the chat? Barry? Barry's there, he's just not talking. Barry. Okay, we'll come back.
We're good in the chat.
Say again, Barry.
There's lots of good comments in the chat. Steve posted a link to some of the training resources we could use. And there's a lot of good comments in the chat, but no questions as far as I can tell.
All right, thank you. I hope I didn't catch you too far off guard. Sorry about that.
Nope.
And let me make one more comment. I don't know if he's still in here, but John Peterson was in earlier. I'm scrolling through, but Mr. Peterson is retired from CISA, but he was the instrumental guy, the man that took care of getting Oxcom where it is today. I owe a great deal of thanks to him for helping me understand the program and giving me the opportunity to become an instructor with it. He fought some of the battles we had, and he understands some of the problems we have going forward, and we worked a lot to get that done. The program continues on without him. We're trying to reconnect the Oxcom ComX, which is a communications exercise solely for amateur radio operators who have had the Oxcom course. I'm redesigning that course technically, and we will be offering that next year. So there will be an exercise, if you have had the ComX course, that will help you continue on with your position task book. No, I don't have dates and times, and no, I don't know how to get that information at this time, but I will be sure to post it to the group when I find that out. I look for that in the catalog next year, and that will be a road show that you will not want to miss.
Joey, when you go to find your presentation on YouTube, if you look a little bit back, you'll see Carla Jurens, your state SWIC, and the NC SWIC co-chair for that subcommittee, and John Peterson, who gave a presentation about what they do on this RATPAC.
All right.
Very
well, John's probably says troublemaker, but we'll still keep him in there.
Very consistent with your verbiage tonight.
Okay, Joey, this is considered an open invitation. When you're ready to come back and give us this information and get the word out, please do. Let us know to JM or Steve or whoever, but let us know and we'll get you back on here and you can do all this again.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm glad everyone stuck around for the Q&A. That I thought would be the best part. There's some key players you guys have in here, like Steve and John, and I keep talking about Jeff, and he won't admit it, but he is, since Hurricane Ike has been the guiding factor for Harris County. I am a resource for you, Jeff, Louie, all of these guys around. I put my information in there. I do it every class. I'm not just harping it out there. I'm kind of like Gordo, WB6NOA. My phone number is in the back of the book. Call me if you need something. And I don't make that offer lightly. I will help you where I can. And I was honored to be part of this presentation and hope to do it again soon.
We're honored to have you. You did a great job. Jane, you got your hand up. No more similar.
I can talk now?
You can talk now.
Okay. Hey, I've downloaded the Oxcom task book or job book. I forget exactly the terminology. For a technician level. And I'm a member of a lot of different MCOM groups of various local and county and state in nature. And I am hearing that the most difficulty they have is that getting somebody to sign off on the task book. I mean, they actually have to see you perform the task or talk through the task. I don't know exactly how the signing off, of the task works. Is there a workaround for that?
Nope. This is accreditation from the statewide interop coordinator for each of the states. You are actually getting a credential. Every state is different and every state has a process, and that is, you're not alone. That is one of the things that is very difficult. So the ComX will help you with that. And I believe that next year you will find out that there may be options virtually that help you with some of that. But the best thing to do is find your statewide interop coordinator, see if there's a group for task books, what their process is. I'll tell you here in Texas how we do it. It has to be another Oxcom or someone in the ICS chart, log section chief or someone of that nature, ComL who signs off on that book. You have 3 years to do it from when you take the course. So it is not something simple. It is not something just a graded exam, because it is a state credential that you're getting. So I hate to be bland in my response, but that is a state by state requirement, and you will have to contact someone there about how you get it done.
No, that's not bland at all. I mean, it's straight up forward. Is there a listing, let's say for the state of Texas, of these instructors, certification body personnel, whatever you want to call them, that one can look up and say, hey, I'm in Oxcom. How can I meet up with you so I can show you that I can do these things? That's pretty general, but
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. So in Texas, if it's a state sponsored class, your instructor would be your first go-to person. So whoever you took it from will have that relationship with the SWIC, and they're a 5-person body that is the task book approval committee that will take a look at that task book and vet you and that sort of thing. Now, to answer your question direct as to who can sign and what event may qualify, if you're unsure, your instructor could help you. And if you can't get a hold of them, it has to have SWIC approval. Let's say it's a county bicycle race and you want to get credit for it. And there's no ComL and but there is an incident commander. There's someone in charge of the bike race, but they don't know anything about radio. Call Carla, who is a SWIC, Carla Jurens, and say, Carla, we're going to do this event. Can I get somebody there? Who do you think I could get? A police chief, a ambulance, a paramedic guy? Who can I get to say that I was there helping for credential? And she can authorize you that level. And she's the only person who can.
All right. What was that last name again?
Jurens, Juliet Uniform, Romeo, Echo, November, Sierra. Carla Jurens. She is the statewide interop coordinator. If you put Texas SWIC, her name will pop up all over.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the individual, sorry if I'm dragging this out. Sorry about that, folks. This will be my last question. I promise. How do you find an instructor?
Well, whoever you took the course from. If you had you can't get a task book done without taking a course. So you have.
I can print out the task book, but
yeah, you can download that. You can certainly download it, but you cannot complete a task book without having had the course. So once you take the course, part of the sections in there is discussing the task book, which they will go over in detail what we just covered, and that's when your clock starts. So you can't just fill out the task book and turn it in and be an Oxcom. You have to have the course, then you're issued the task book, and that's your start date.
Right, I understand totally. Thank you very much for your answers. Great job tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, and you got my number if you need more information.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Anybody? I don't see any more hands up. Barry, checking into the chat.
Everything is good in chat. Does Lewis want to ask a question? I see he's waving his hand.
Want to make a comment. Carla Jurens is a ham also and has been an active ham for quite some time, as well as her husband.
And Louis, lunch is on you next week.
Roger that.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We're good in chat then now again.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, ladies, this has been a great presentation. Joy, I really appreciate you coming on. I do not know what happened with earlier communications. My note showed you were emailed and contacted, and oh, hey, there's the guy with the devil with the plan right there. JM, you want to come on before we shut this down?
Joey, I just wanted to tell you thank you for jumping through the hoops to get with the program today. I just now got here, so I didn't see the presentation. But from the questions and the number of people still here, it had to be a good one. And we knew that it would be. So thank you, sir.
And I'm sorry if I confused you tonight, Dan.
Okay. Well, Joy, you have any last comments there?
No, sir. I just count me as a resource. Please lean on me when I can help, and everybody be safe.
CNJM and a bow tie. I'm in shock here, folks. I'm in shock.
I think that's a filter.
Oh,
And
okay.
a Sears comb too.
Yeah, that's a very creative filter. Okay, 73s, everyone.